Hello, my name is Vanessa Macias, and I will be speaking on the importance of diversity in the healthcare workforce and how that diversity translates into a type of patient care that is more culturally competent and sensitive. As a healthcare administrator, manager, or human resource professional, it is increasingly important to address the issue of diversity, since it is estimated that by the year 2050, 1 in 3 people will be non-white in the United States. Currently, the organization in which you work may fall into one of 4 approaches to diversity. Let's explore the concepts more closely and see how the approaches can manifest themselves in the direct care of patients. Approach 1: Ignore diversity. In this approach, diversity is not considered an important issue in the delivery of healthcare.
Hey, Mr. Fernandez, just wanted to come in and let you know that we got the results of the appendectomy, and so far it seems like everything should be fine. Mr. Fernandez, you paying attention? Mr. Fernandez, Mr. Fernandez.
In this approach, the status quo is protected and the organization does not actively concern itself with improving the patient experience. However, in not doing so, this type of organization runs a risk of having an increased tendency in dealing with legal issues. In the second approach, the organization has begun the process of dealing with diversity.
I don't think he understood me. Is there anything we do about this?
In this type of organization, administration begins to address the fact that patients are not all the same and that different approaches need to be made by healthcare providers in order to meet patient needs through training and affirmative action guidelines. Although cultural differences are acknowledged, conflicts and problems can occur because the organization does not have strategies to formally address the issues. The third type of organization is one that not only acknowledges differences, but builds acceptance of diversity.
I'm sure we can find someone who speaks Spanish around here.
Yeah, I speak Spanish. I was talking to Mr. Fernandez earlier. I can help translate if you want me to.
Perfect.
In this approach, healthcare providers are sensitive to the idea of cultural diversity and try to problem solve amongst themselves in order to address the patient. Lastly, your organization may fall within the fourth approach. This is one where diversity issues and conflicts are solved and the organization actively seeks to create an inclusive culture.
Well, Mr. Fernandez, I see on our chart here that our receptionist put that you do need a translator, so I did bring someone with me.
Buenos días, señor Fernandez.
As you can see, diversity permeates the organization, and there are systems in place to proactively address the needs of diverse patients instead of reacting to situations after a problem arises. As a result, business is handled more efficiently and effectively. Why then is it important for you as a healthcare leader to address such issues as diversity? There are 3 important reasons. One is financial in nature and serves to protect the organization's bottom line. The financial impact of problems stemming from racial discrimination and discriminatory practices can potentially cost an organization millions. The Equal Opportunity Commission protects against such practices. Secondly, it is better for business. Diversity initiatives strengthen and encourage employee commitment to the organization. It will also result in better health services for the patient. A healthcare organization that is diverse is an asset and gives it an edge against competitors. Lastly, having a diverse workforce is simply the right thing to do. Employees that are culturally and ethnically represented at all levels of an organization feel more valued, appreciated, and respected. Similarly, patients who identify with the workforce feel more at ease. They feel that they are included and that management champions and understands their needs. These are some strategies to follow in the pursuit of a culturally diverse workforce. Number 1, know the demographics of the community. Number 2, recruit talent from local sources. Number 3, train employees on the importance of diversity. And number 4, incorporate culturally competent care. Kaiser Permanente West Los Angeles Medical Center used these strategies to alter the composition of its workforce to better reflect the shifting population. This medical center serves a range of people, from the economically advantaged population of Beverly Hills in the north to an area characterized by gang activity and poverty in the south. This predominantly African American service area has a rapidly growing Hispanic and Asian population and a decreased white population. Administration knew that they had to respond to this shift and implemented certain strategies to ensure that the workforce demographic was representative of the shift. First, they initiated an ongoing effort to track and monitor demographic changes in both the service area and workforce. Their annual reviews also changed to assess progress towards diversity goals. They implemented a recruiting plan by being present at job fairs taking place at local schools and colleges and worked with regional labor unions to attract diverse employees from the community. They established a leadership recruitment program, an initiative whereby high potential management prospects go through a 360-degree review process, receiving career coaching and mentoring, and design their own career development plans. They trained regional senior managers, medical center managers, and all staff to consider diversity management of patient, race, ethnicity, gender, age, sexual orientation, language, cultural beliefs, practices, and values as central to the case management of patients' total health care experience. Next, we will briefly explore how having a diverse workforce creates an environment of culturally competent care. First of all, what is culturally competent care? It is definitely a hot issue in healthcare these days. With a variety of patients from different ethnic and cultural backgrounds, it is important to be sensitive to practices that are not popular in Western medicine. Culturally competent care is the delivery of health services with an in-depth understanding of and sensitivity to the values and viewpoints of different groups. Consider the following scenarios.
Amy's mother brings in her 6-year-old boy to the hospital complaining of bad coughing and pains in his chest. Upon examining the boy, the nurse discovers a pattern of bruises or welts on the child's chest. As a mandated reporter, she immediately thinks of calling Child Protective Services and reporting the case. However, because administration is aware that the hospital is an area with a high concentration of Vietnamese, they have focused on recruiting medical staff that mirrors the population. The nurse then asks for a Vietnamese interpreter to ask about the welts. The interpreter, who is also a nurse, immediately recognizes the marks as being that of a common cultural practice of coining. The interpreter asks the patient's mother how the boy got those marks, and she responds that she was trying to help the illness escape the boy's body by rubbing his skin with coins.
This is a great example of culturally competent care. If there was no staff on hand to understand the meaning of the marks on the boy's body, the repercussion to the family could have been great. The mother's actions could have been misinterpreted as abuse, when in reality, she was simply trying to help the boy heal in the only way she knew how. It is also important not to stereotype patients simply because they are of a certain background. Consider this case.
A Hispanic woman who has had a tumor removed a few days before comes to the hospital and is groaning loudly in pain. The hospital is in an area that is predominantly Hispanic, and the nurse sees this type of reaction to pain all the time. Because of his past experience, he knows that Hispanic patients tend to over-exaggerate the pain that they are in. The nurses in that hospital have even coined the term Hispanic panic. The woman is complaining and squirming in pain even after the nurse has administered a low dose of pain medication. The nurse tells the woman's daughter to wait a few minutes for the pain medication to kick in. However, when the physician comes in to examine the patient, he discovers that the patient has internal bleeding and is rushed to the operating room in a panic. The patient's family blames the nurse for not taking action sooner. The daughter knew that her mother never complains unless she is in unbearable pain. Now the physician is questioning the nurse's decision making.
As you can see, it is extremely important for healthcare providers to be culturally sensitive to the needs of patients. What better way to most accurately address the needs of the community than by having a diverse workforce that mirrors the community? Strengthening the diversity of your workforce helps to ensure that patients will see themselves reflected in your organization and feel comfortable seeking your services. A diverse workforce is a strategy for success. If you are unaware of how committed your organization is to strengthening the diversity of your workplace, take this self-assessment to get a better sense of the issue. You can also explore the following resources from the Institute for Diversity and Health Management. Buena suerte. That's good luck in Spanish.